You are listening to Indie Radio, where we do content the indie way.
Hello, and welcome to an all new episode of the Spotlight, the season premiere. I am one of your hosts, Kinte, all the way live from Los Angeles, California, and I'm so happy to be here today. And we have a excellent guest for you tonight. She's an actress. She's a filmmaker. She is newly graduated from college. We have Sheridan Randolph. How you doing, Sheridan?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I am doing very well, very, very, very well. This is your first time on the program. So, in the tradition of how we like to do our show, we have to start off with your origin story. So, can you tell
Okay.
the audience where you from originally?
Hello. Yes, I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and he is right. I did recently graduate from Middle Tennessee State University in December. If we're going all the way back for origin, filmmaking and movies, I've always liked them since I was a kid. I remember the first movie I ever saw was The Goonies, and I used to watch that every day for like a year when I was younger, and my babysitter would come over and always bring it. And I loved seeing like kids my age and a little older, kind of just going on these adventures and like knowing that you could write and create things. I used to do that with imaginary friends, and I used to write little stories and perform for my family. So just kind of getting into that vibe at that age was really important for me. And then when I got to college is when I really started to pick it back up some more and be a little more serious about it. So I would do short films and even making a web series and just doing a lot of other things. So yeah, just trying to continue the craft and trying to keep that same passion as I get older. And I'm always open to learn. And I'm just very happy to be here. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, some of us people that as creative folk, we start to show interest in the creative arts at a very young age. Now you said you were pretty young when you realized it. What was it about the filmmaking or movies or in general that really just got your attention and made you want to be a part of it?
I think the main thing for me was, like I said, with the Goonies, like I saw younger kids my age, like on a movie and like just doing all of these different things. The adventure was really cool. Of course, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about the Goonies. It's such a classic. But it was just that, like seeing people that were around my age. And then I remember too, seeing Halle Berry in the X-Men movie for the first time. And I was like, whoa, like that's like a very strong and powerful black woman on screen in the superhero genre. Like my mind was completely blown. So just like seeing that it's really possible for people to be out there and in the industry that look like me, and especially now diversity is so important and it's such a, of course, like a very important part of what Hollywood is trying to do. It was just those sort of things. And then I'm also a researcher. So, of course, looking things up when I was younger, like that was just my thing. I would look up behind the scenes stuff and I was learning more and more. It's like, oh, these movies don't just happen. Like, there's writers and there's filmmakers and directors and everybody that's behind the scenes. So, kind of just really researching that as well and kind of getting into more of, beginning to end of how a movie goes and like learning about the different stages of production. So, yeah, just like seeing people that look like me and then also research.
It's funny. I always joke that when I was a kid, I used to think that movies were like made in the TV. Like,
Yeah.
it was almost like a microwave or something. You put in the tape and then it cooks it or something, and there you go. Like, I didn't know, like, when you're like, I was a young kid and I was like, oh, look, there's actors. There's, when I finally realized that the first movie, my favorite movie of all time is The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Mm.
And that was like the first movie where I realized, oh, people created that. That is, oh, I want to be whatever a director is. I didn't even know that's what it was called, I'm sure at the time, but I wanted to do that, and I've always, as I've gotten older, just more and more, that's what I want to do. Um, so the writing aspects of your creation, how much do you enjoy that?
I enjoy it a lot. At times it can be stressful, but just creating stories, and I'm trying to do this thing now too, like more focused on realism and real people's, lives and like the things that people are struggling with and going through. Especially, I'm, still being a young adult and knowing how it was for my teenage years and like just the importance of having content out there that represents the real life of teens and real life of young adults. That's just kind of like a really important thing for me at the moment. So writing is just also a way for me to escape. It's just been that way when I watch movies or when I write something down. Like I feel like it's like some sort of purpose that's kind of just going from what's inside of me on paper. So just that kind of process. And then I talk to myself when I write as well. So there's just like this kind of whole process and this whole journey that goes on when I like sit down and either type something or write something. But I love it because it's also the start. It's like all these great movies that are made and all of these things that happen. It's like it starts on that page and it starts with you as a writer. So no matter what step in the process I want to be a part of afterwards, knowing that like my name was on something that is tangible and that could mean something to people, and knowing that I created something that connects with others, like that's just the most important thing.
Yeah, it's like playing God, being a writer. You decide who lives, who dies, who hooks up, who gets pregnant, who, it's playing God. And if you have a God complex, it may be good for you, to create. Do you ever go through writer's block?
Oh, all the time, all the time.
Yeah. Do you have any like
Literally
tips?
yesterday, I got
Mm,
nothing done yesterday. I stared at a screen and I was like, huh, okay. Like trying to work on a new short film. And so I went and watched short films. And then, you have that doubt in the back of your head that's like, oh, this was great. Now mine will not be that great. Like those sort of things were like all in my brain yesterday. So yeah, it happens. It happens a lot.
it's funny. I had a film that was in a film festival, and we felt really confident about it. Right? We're like, how they put you in groups, right? And we're sitting there thinking, me and my partner at the time, or I mean, we're still, business partners. Um, we were like, oh yeah, we're gonna kill it, right? So the first film wasn't that good in our group, so we're sitting there like, like yeah, we got this. And then the next one was freaking amazing. It was like
Yeah.
to the point like a little bit into it, we're like, dang, this is really good. Like so sometimes when the thing is about, especially when you see like a peer who creates something pretty awesome, it can be intimidating, but then also it can be inspiring too, because then it makes you want to do better and stuff. So it's like when we saw that, we're like, man, we got to step our game up, you know. And then it was like the next one was like killer, It was like, man, they put us in a group of killers. So it is, that can be something. Do you get inspired by amateur content, like stuff you find on YouTube and on the internet? Like because there's a lot of really good short films on like YouTube, for example. Does that inspire you?
Yeah. I watch. My brother has a TikTok account. I don't mess with TikTok because it can be very addictive. But I do. I look at different TikTok videos, and it's just like people, just everyday life. That's just them being creative and just thinking on the spot. Like that's always inspiring, especially like if I ever want to jump into like the comedy genre, like just kind of having that instinct or just looking at real life situations and finding, something funny in it. That's always inspiring. I loved watching YouTube a lot when I was younger as well, and just seeing. I remember The Guild was the first um, YouTube web series I saw, and it was amazing. And it just like, of course, just about all these nerds and gamers. And I was like, oh, there's a show that has that sort of representation, and I loved that. And then of course, Issa Rae with Awkward Black Girl, like that's just a very huge part of me growing up within my teen years, and like especially in high school, like I loved watching the show over and over again. So yeah, it's just you can find inspiration anywhere. Like I mean, people say that all the time, but it's actually true. So just being able to watch other people, whether they're a professional or an amateur, just knowing that they're exercising their creative muscles is just super inspiring because it's like they're taking the time and the effort to put themselves out there. And that in itself is inspiring because even like you were saying, we'll go to film festivals or do all these different things and see all this great content. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, it's so easy to compare yourself to other people, but just knowing, it's important that you put yourself out there and you're creating something and you're expressing yourself to connect with others, or just, even if it's just for yourself, it's just really important to do that. So yeah, it's just inspiration anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, and then you just got to take it where it comes.
Yep.
So are you an only child? Do you have any siblings?
No, I have a younger brother. He's taller than me, but I'm the oldest, so hopefully, that's what I have over him. But I'm the film person within the family because it's me, my brother, my mom, and they're like, basketball, and they do a lot of other things. And my mom does great inspirational speaking and teaching and so many other things. So yeah, my youngest brother is he's a boy. He's I have we got our sibling rivalry just like everybody else. But yeah, but it's cool being the older sister. I won't lie, like it has its advantages of like knowing that there's somebody under you, somebody watching you, so you need to try to do the best that you can and not mess up as much. So I think it's kind of like a good thing for me being that older sibling and trying to be a good example. But yes, it is. It's me, my younger brother, and my mother.
Oh, cool. Have you put him in anything yet, your brother?
I did. I remember my what was it, my not the last semester, but the semester before last, when COVID was like really strong. I took some summer classes, and I took a camera class, and they were like, so you got to be creative in your house. So I made a short film called "The Floor Is Lava." It was just like a challenge I remember doing as a kid, and I was like, okay, I'll make a short film about that. So there's a scene in it where I told my brother he had to come out of a room, and I was like, okay, just give this look and look at me like you normally would do when you're annoyed. And I was like, oh yeah, he nailed that look. Trust me, he nailed it. So yeah, I've used him before, but because he was just too good with that annoyed look at me, I was like, I'm not gonna ask you for anything else because it's too real. It's too real. But then I also did a TikTok video on Instagram. I posted it on Instagram from his account for my graduation, and so I did that with him as well. So I don't use him too much, but like if it pops in my head and I need him, he's there, so I do use him.
Oh, that's cool. Um, Now, as we said, you recently graduated from college. What was the college experience like?
I'm I like I said, I schedule and plan and research, like that's kind of my thing. So, because there's some filmmakers that don't go to school and they're super spontaneous and they can just go out and be awesome. I was like, that's not my process. I wish it was, but it's not. So college for me, it was really important to make friends that way, make connections, learn. So I did at MTSU, I was part of the film program, so that was really fun. I think too, the best thing about college is connections because I got to work on a short film, like just being able to go to different fairs at the school and just connect with other people. So I got to do that. I got to meet some really cool people, really strong females within these different clubs as well, which I truly, truly loved. So the experience, I think it was important for me, especially before COVID. I was very lucky, to still be in college before all this craziness hit. But for me, it was a great experience, sometimes not so great experience. Through college, you just go through it all. So I think it feels like a rite of passage when you go to college and then like to graduate and complete. Like it just felt really good to get that diploma delivered to my house. I was super excited. Like I wanted to do a backflip if I knew how to do one. But I appreciate the experience. I feel like it's something I could potentially write about somewhere in the future, some of the things I've seen and went through. So I think college it's another thing I can tuck in the back of my writing pocket. So, but that's kind of how I see it.
Nice, nice. What about how did college advance your film knowledge and it make you a better filmmaker? And it's kind of expand on how college helped you in that way.
I think biggest thing for me was working with people that are on the same path as me. Because like I said, in my family, like my mom and my brother, like basketball was like a thing that we all loved, and I like really, really loved it to a certain point. But college and being in that program, it helped me just see that there are people that are like me, that are these college students just want to create and want to make friends that love film and have fun. And joining the film clubs was really important as well because I got to really see that it goes beyond the classroom, and I think that's one of the main mistakes that like people in college can make, especially if class takes up a lot of your time. It's a lot, it's crazy. But when you really find that group of people that are passionate and want to make stuff outside of being in that classroom, that really helped shape me as a filmmaker as well, to know that I can't just depend on, kind of taking notes or knowing that it's not about a set process. It's about you taking that initiative to go out and be creative. So I think that shaped me as a filmmaker. And it even just inspired me even to make the web series that I made because it was like, I need to do something outside of this classroom. I need to be more than just a film student. Like I really need to put that to the test. I need to be creative and like to be able to call myself a writer or a filmmaker one day. I got to exercise that muscle. So college, it really just taught me to take the lead on things as well, not be afraid to speak out and, use my voice to make things, create things, not to always depend on, other people and other people's projects. Like you're an individual and that's important, and everybody needs to be their own person. Everybody has stories that they need to tell. So college just really taught me to just expand on that and to really grow as a person. So specifically too within the film program, having people that I could honestly go to about my content and, get honest feedback, whether it was great teachers, students, whatever, that was just really important for me as like being a filmmaker, growing into the person that I'm trying to be. Like college was a huge part of it in that way, just learning how to take criticism, learning how to just make your own stuff and just, accepting who you are as a young adult.
I love it. I love it. Now you are here to promote a web series that you have coming out, or it's out now, and we have a promo clip of it, and then we're going to play the promo clip, and then we're going to talk more in depth about it. Okay, so here we
Okay.
go.
So just silence. I mean, what are we supposed to be doing? Meditating?
I'm so glad we spent all this time apart just maturing ourselves.
All right, that was the promo for Stuck In. So tell us about Stuck In.
Well, Stuck In, it's about these three friends that are reconnecting during COVID, during the pandemic that's happening right now still. And it's also them struggling with their own mental health issues. So it's like whether they're really in denial about these issues and they're reconnecting to, of course, have some sort of outlet without, fully expressing that, or it's just for them as well. It's about just trying to mend this sort of friendship relationship that they lost a long time ago. So what kind of starts it is there's a certain death that happens within one of their lives, and so it leads them to contact the people that kind of know them the best. And with the series, it also shows, how people can really truly know you even when you don't think that they do, or they can be sometimes brutally honest with you. So it's kind of just like that thing of the time that we're in right now. I did like research and reconnecting with old friends, and doing reunions was like the biggest thing that people were doing when people were on like extreme lockdown, which is when we shot it. So yeah, that's kind of just the gist of it.
All right. So let's talk about the process. How did you actually get this accomplished during the
Okay. Yeah. So the process, it started off actually, they offered a web series class virtually, and I was like, oh, that's like insane. Didn't think it would work. Something in my head was like, okay, just try it, go for it. And so I did. And so I kind of wrote the scripts through the class and like learned different things. And my teacher actually was telling me she was stressed out for me because virtually it was going to be a crazy process to sit and do 3 episodes of something, that would be like longer than 3 minutes. Like all of my episodes are, like about 10 or so minutes. So that process was crazy. So what we did, everybody was virtual for the most part, and we would pair one cameraman or woman with our 2 different locations. So my 2 other friends that shot it with me, they're in Johnson City, and I'm here in Chattanooga. So it was a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of Zoom recordings. I had another friend who directed, so I would have him directing on my phone and watch us do our thing on our clips. And then I would have on my laptop, it would be all of us acting and doing all our things. So it was completely insane. It was a learning experience for sure. Like it took, I mean, the hours were long, but like it was nuts. I'm very grateful to them, by the way. Shout out to everybody that helped me, all my friends, because you can't do it by yourself. You need a team to make it happen, and they really showed up and did it. And we've been in so much on technology, so many phone charges, so many everything. So it was an insane process, but again, like I'm very glad that I went through it. But if the pandemic wasn't going on, trust me, I would have done something like more so in person. But it was also about safety. The pandemic is still happening. It was happening at the time when we shot it. So it was that, and even like as a writer, the creative muscle of having to make virtual scenes work, and like really trying to write within a box and like kind of create these characters that are so different and can hopefully be watchable even within the screen, just learning about who they are and their dynamic, good or bad. So yeah, that process was crazy, and I had to do it by myself, like as far as producing and like all of that sort of stuff. So beginning to end, that was like all me, even after school ended. And then, just picking friends to just work with me to do like the music and, camera operation, sound, all of that. So yeah, but I'm very happy with the process, and hopefully people will be happy with it as well once they see it.
Oh, nice, nice. I have seen all 3 episodes, and of course, we won't spoil anything, but um, it's interesting. So this is 100% scripted because it feels improv. A lot of it feels
Yeah,
kind
no,
of like.
it's scripted. I intentionally, because me and my friend Jalen, who directed it, um, we had these conversations of making it awkward on purpose, because it's
Hmm.
like you need to act like we don't talk and we don't see each other. So I wanted to make it feel as real as I could. So I'm glad you said that, because if it felt unscripted and improv, like that was kind of the feel. So I think maybe like in total of all 3 episodes, maybe there were only like 2 lines that like somebody said that was a little different from what I wrote, and I was like, oh no, keep that. So, but everything else was completely scripted. And me, I mean, I was an awkward teenager. I'm still an awkward young adult. So some of that, like just coming out, was kind of natural. And just like the weird pauses between them, like those are like director decisions as well. And like even some of the stammering and different things, like especially you're virtual and on Zoom, like it's not going to be super easy and it's going to feel awkward. So like just that essence in itself, I think just kind of came out really well. And then like the other actors, Trey and Brian, my other 2 friends, like, all 3 of us together, I think we did a pretty good job of just conveying this sort of awkwardness on screen, especially.
That's really good. I really thought you were mostly improving.
Mm-hmm.
So to find out it was scripted, that's really cool. That's real cool. So oh wow, that's incredible. So and you said very little of it was even improv. You said like just a
Yeah,
couple lines.
there were maybe like 2 lines. I think I don't remember the specific line, but there is a line that Trey says, and it is a little different than like what I wrote. And I was like, oh no, keep it that way. And I think Brian, same thing. They both had like a line. But other than that, like it was scripted. I tried to make sure, again, like just trying to exercise that writing muscle for myself, and like knowing that this is like, it's like my first big web series that I made, like as a beginner, like that, this is my level. And I was like, I'm pretty proud of the level that, I'm setting that nice standard for myself. But that was a big thing for me, was to really just try to practice dialogue, practice trying to have 3 separate voices, and just, take the stuff that you learn personally in your life and the stuff that you learn within film school, and just like, trying to make it into the script that it was.
Nice. How did you like the acting in it?
The acting, well, I personally, I know them, and I've had acting classes with them as well, and like I've known them for a couple years, and they're really cool. They're great guys. I was very happy that they decided to do it, because of course having it be somewhat part of what I did for school, I was like, most likely I won't, have as much money and things for you. So like I really, really, really do appreciate everybody that helped me, because they understood that it was like a passion project for me, and they knew how important it was for me to finish this. So thank them so much. I'll probably be thanking them a lot, because they're all very important to me. But as far as the acting, I pulled a lot from them, because like acting is really their area, and mine is more of writing. But like knowing that it was kind of awkward, I was like, okay, I got that part down. So, but I had to ask them questions and like even learn about their process of getting into their characters, and like their certain mannerisms and different things. And like, of course, both of them are playing characters different from themselves, and I am as well. So like having to really get into that space, I was glad that I had friends that are actors.
Nice, nice. Yeah. Do you like? Are you one of those people that like to see yourself on screen or no?
Every time, like if I have like friends or family watching out, I post on Instagram, hey, these episodes are out. And if people are telling me this, that, and the other, it's like, I will not watch it with you. Like my mom's like, hey, I'm about to watch this. I was like, okay, go somewhere else, or like don't don't sit watch it with me. Like it makes me feel weird. It's like I'm happy if people think I did a good job. I'm like, okay, because personally I judge myself harder than anybody else. So it's like, oh great, like I watch it and it's like, oh, this is completely terrible and I do a great job. Like, oh great, I have to, my friends are really good doing their thing and it's like I'm just over here in the corner. So like it's
Mhm.
kind of that feeling. But no, I watching myself, like I can do it by myself, but not with other people. It's too stressful, at least for right now. If I end up being in more stuff,
Mhm.
and like learning and growing, and if I feel like there's something that I did a good job with, or if I am going to some big premiere, like for sure I'm not gonna skip that. Like I'm gonna go and watch it if other people are around me. But like if I have the option, it's usually better if I just watch it by myself. It makes me feel better.
Mhm. Did anything surprise you about the transition from your script to actual filming it?
Um,
The whole process and all of that kind of stuff.
the length, number one for sure, because when I wrote them, of course, like with action, because like you write as well, so your action lines and things are going to play out differently and things are going to be bigger. But then once I was talking with the director about the awkwardness and the pauses and the stammerings, like knowing that it was really going to expand from the script, so I think that was like the craziest thing, because I think the first episode, it started off maybe as like 6 pages or so, and then of course within that first episode it's longer, like it's more like 12 to like 14 minutes, somewhere in there. So like just learning about that as well, that was like another thing, a learning experience for me, like knowing that people tell you it's approximately one page is like 1 minute, but like it depends on the content of that page. So I think that was the biggest thing that shocked me, knowing that it was going to be a little bit longer, and then in the future knowing that we were going to have to put in more hours to make it happen. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that shocked me.
Hmm, okay. Um, I feel like you did an excellent job. First of all, congratulations. And the actors did a great job as well as yourself. Um, is this, can you see, are you going to move on to something else next, or are you going to continue with Stuck In?
It depends on how it does. Like if it's like in the future, I know, because marketing and different things, there's a huge part. I think marketing is like one of the most underrated parts of the film process. Like people have to, you have to spread the word and have other people see it, test it, this, that, and the other. So right now, as far as money, like I'm not in that specific stage to like really try to expand on that. But if I were to do a season two, for me personally, because everybody who helped me, like did it for little to nothing. Like I would want to do a season two, if so, with a nice budget, like so that I could, be able to provide and help all the people that helped me. So like personally, to do it again for free, I might wait a little bit if that ends up happening. And of course I would have to talk with everybody involved. But like I would prefer to have a little more money to give out to others if I were to do a season two. But I am still working on some short films. There are people that I'm talking with to collaborate on like other web series. And then there's a short film that I want to do personally with another friend of mine. So there are things that I'm still working on. And then of course trying to find a job, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm right out of college. That's part of the process. Um,
Right.
so yeah, so that's kind of just what's next for me. But if is it something that I would love to revisit, for sure. It's just I don't know when and what capacity yet.
And my suggestion, especially you young people, is that you create, like, don't don't get too wrapped into money at this point, especially when you're doing this kind of thing, because it's about the more you do something, the better you'll get at it. And I'll see people who, like, they'll have a group of people that have all these skill sets, and they rather just sit, and not use it. It's like now you can use your. Most people have an iPhone, or you can create on your iPhone. It's like, make stuff. Don't the money will come. So I'm like, create content. Content is king. And so my suggestion to any of you people out there is, your friend who has no money is creating something, help them if you can, because you never know what the thing is that people will see you in, that will catapult your career. Because I remember I interviewed a really popular TV director named Seats Man. He's a black guy. He's worked on The Wire. He's worked on Hell on Wheels. He worked on The Walking Dead. He's really doing well. And his big break was that he had done a short film with a bunch of his friends, and the right person saw it and hired him on The Wire. Now his career is big. Something similar. It was a short film, and I don't know if you ever watched the show The Wire, but
Yeah, great
the
show, great show.
Marlo Stansfield, he's on Bosch right now. I'm so sorry,
Mm.
his name escapes me right now. He's a great actor. Um, he was in that same short film, so he got the job on The Wire playing Marlo because of the short film. And the guy that directed it, Steve Mann, got a directing job from his short film. So
Yeah.
like you never know what it is that the industry might come across. And I think it was one of those situations, if I remember correctly, where somebody showed showed it to them. They just happened to see it. And it's like, wow, they were impressed, and they told them to come in. So the way things are, I know for a fact, I've interviewed producers in the industry and stuff, and they look on YouTube for the next thing. They're looking on YouTube for somebody that's a filmmaker that's doing some obscure something. Like I don't know if you remember the movie Lights Out.
Hmm.
That director, whose name escapes me, he was doing stuff online with his wife, making little short horror films. And then the Lights Out thing was a short film that he was doing on YouTube. And Hollywood hired him to make it into a live action. I mean, live action, it was always live action, but I mean, a full length film. Then after that, he got the sequel to Annabelle, and then he did Shazam. And this guy is like a Hollywood director. So,
But I think
so.
similar things too with because the movie Napoleon Dynamite. Like,
Mhm.
it's the same thing. Like he just like did some promo or something like on YouTube. And I think Peanut Butter Falcon is like one of my favorite movies of 2019. But same thing. It was like they did a promo with the actor that they were gonna have, and they kind of just did it. And so yeah, like you never know. You kind of just start with something small, and it can kind of take you anywhere. My mom says it all the time. You have to spend money to make money. So it is. You
Right.
kind of just got to put yourself out there and really just go for it.
And actors act, directors direct, and writers write. And that's why that's why I'm so bullish about, like, if you're just sitting around, create something. Put something out there for people to see so that your talent can be seen. But some people are like, oh man, I mean, I get, we all need money, right? But sometimes when you're sitting around waiting for that call, that audition or whatever, there's no reason for us not to be creative. There's no reason for it. And then you do a quid pro quo, like I'll help you on your project, you help me on mine, that kind of thing. So
And then too, like people want to see that, if I'm not hiring you, what are you doing on your own? Like what's happening that would make me want to eventually hire you. So it
yeah,
is, it's like, and there's so many ways to create, there's so many platforms. So it's like, it's just, they say, people say there really is no excuse not to go out and just make something and to
right.
do something. So yeah, so there's, I think that's a pro, at least to us now for this generation, like that access that we have, like it's easy for us to just pull out our phones and try to shoot something, make something, write something, do whatever. So yeah, so I think it's that type of expression it's free and it's important, just exercise it.
Mhm. So what are some of the films besides the Goonies, which we talked about, and TV shows that you really get into?
Um, oh, that's such a big question. I like a lot of different shows.
Mhm.
Especially when I'm writing and if there's a specific audience or a specific genre that I'm trying to go for, that's what I like to watch. So like one day I want to make like some sort of mockumentary something. I love The Office. I love Parks and Rec, and specifically with Parks and Rec, like female led, and the fact that their female friendship between Leslie and Anne, the characters, like was the core. So like that's something that I gravitate towards. I love those type of ensemble comedies. Even like Sex Education, that's on Netflix right now. Show's hilarious. Let's see, any movies? I love a wide range of movies. Of course, I'm a huge Marvel fan. Like I could talk all day about Marvel. But those movies are really good. I love The Star Is Born with Lady Gaga, stuff like that. Like my range is it's all over the place.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think. What's a like really recent film that I like was like really into? I mean, Parasite when that came out as well. Like I'm trying to
Hmm.
also watch a lot more like foreign films, like White Tiger. Love that
Hmm.
movie as well. So I don't know. It goes back to what we were talking about. Like you can really find inspiration anywhere. Like it kind of just like I'm just mesmerized by movies in general. If there's some sort of connection that you find with the character, especially if it's character based. Like I'm really trying to get more into character based because there's plot based stuff and then there's character based stuff. But the character based stuff, like it really hits you and it feels very real. Um, I don't know. It's a big question. I love so many movies, but like as far as genre, I will say like superhero, sci-fi, all that kind of stuff is my favorite just because there's realism within it. Like you can relate to these characters, but they're in a world that's so outside of our own. So I think like just things like that really,
Mm.
really like are something that like I would love to get into. Like if I could create a superhero someday, like that would be like the ultimate check on my list. But yeah,
Nice.
but I don't know. I love movies. And that sounds so lame and generic, but I mean I really do. It's just the
Mhm.
process and everything is just such a magical thing for me personally.
It is. It is. Um, I don't know about where you're at. Were you able to go to the theater during the pandemic?
They I
Or when
think
was the
we
last
were
time? Maybe that's
oh
what I
like it's
should.
been guaranteed it's been a year. Like absolutely guaranteed cuz I know things shut down for us like it calls around spring break. I remember in March of last year, like everybody else I think shut down. So I think the last time maybe I went to the movies was it was a movie with Elizabeth Moss. I can't remember. Oh, The Invisible Man was the last movie I remember seeing in theaters.
Oh
That
wow.
was the last movie.
We were supposed to see that, but I didn't get around to seeing that. I haven't
Yeah,
seen it
but
at
it's been a
all.
long time since I've been inside of a theater. But they're trying to open up now and do more things with guidelines. I miss being in a theater because watching things on your phone and having that access is cool. But there's nothing like being in a theater and feeling that atmosphere and like especially other people reacting, whether it's laughing, crying, whatever, like that sort of feeling. There's just nothing like that. So I miss it.
Well, I will say this about that is I can't remember the last movie I saw last year, but I did finally get a chance to go to the movies on Sunday. Me and a friend went, and it was so cool. It had been a year because I go to the movies often, and I was so glad they finally opened back the theaters on Friday, and it was only six of us in the theater, but I didn't care. It was just cool being back in the movie theater. We saw this movie called The Marksman with Liam Neeson, which I mean, probably I wouldn't have went to go see it if it was on other circumstances. That was the only film they had there that I wanted to see, like that was like, okay, we'll see that, because they had a couple of films that I had seen already on video or whatever. I mean, on streaming, like they had Judas and the Black Messiah. That's a film I would have
Mm-hmm.
seen in the theater. The Little Things with Denzel. I had
Yeah,
seen that
Denzel, Jared Leto, yeah. Hmm.
movie. I mean, I enjoyed it. I know a lot of critics didn't like it, but I enjoyed it. And what was the other thing? Tenet. They had.
Oh
I
yeah,
watching Tenet, even though I'd seen it on, but that movie you really need to see that like in IMAX. But but I said no, I want to see something I hadn't seen, so I watched Liam Neeson movie, The Marksman. And you know what? It didn't even really matter how good the movie was. I was just glad to be back in the cinema, and so we may be going to see a movie called Nobody, which is it seems like kind of a remake of John Wick a little bit. It's the same like producers, but it's like a similar plot in John Wick. But this guy's like a family man, who was like a spy or whatever, like a John Wick type character who
yeah,
is reactivated and he's back. It's starring the guy who plays Saul from Better Call
yeah. From
Saul.
Better Call Saul, I think it's Bob something or Rob.
Bob
I feel bad.
Odenkirk.
I don't. It's like it's not
Odenkirk.
Odek or something. Yeah, okay. So I was like, I know I can never pronounce his last name correctly. But yes, I heard
Bob.
of that film.
And so we're probably going to see that. It might be entertaining, but the big one that I'm excited about is in March 31st, and that is King Kong versus Godzilla.
Mm, yeah.
And I am Team Godzilla. I grew up as a Godzilla fan, and I've been joking that Godzilla doesn't win, we're gonna riot. So, so I think we're gonna probably even do a review show about the movie. Though I've been hearing good reviews on it, so that should be fun. It'd be fun just like a movie that you really want to go see in the theater. Because I have a projector and all of that at the house, so I was gonna watch it on the big screen one way or the other. So, but
Nice.
because it's gonna be on HBO Max the day of. So, but I
I
actually want
want
to
to see
see it.
Black Widow. That's mine.
What?
Black Widow. That's the Scarlett Johansson. I love Scarlett
Oh
Johansson.
yeah, 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 yeah,
But
yeah.
Black Widow. So like, if I don't go to the movies like anytime soon, because I know they're supposed to come out in the summer and it's been postponed a lot because of all the craziness going on. But that movie for sure. I
It looks
think
good.
for me personally, as a bias, like if I were to go back to the theater, like I would go for like a female-led movie, just to like
Mm-hmm.
feel that kind of power intensified on
Mm-hmm.
screen and on a huge screen. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Black Widow is like my go-to if I don't go any sooner than that. Like that, I do want to see in theaters.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks good. That was one of the trailers they showed at the theater. That was so cool when they showed like the trailer. They started showing the trailers. I was like, man, I'm so glad to be back in the movie theater. So, uh, that's just one of those things that some of those things you take for granted until they take it away from you. And then it's like, like eating in a restaurant. Like I love going to restaurants and not being able to eat at a restaurant, and it's just I mean, obviously we're glad that we have our health and all of those kind of things, but those little things, you know, you you realize those are a big part of your life, and you're glad to it's starting to come back. Some of that stuff, going to a ball game. I love sports, so I like going to ball games. I like going to Dodger Stadium or seeing a Laker game or something like that. So those things I'm looking forward to coming back. So, and then hopefully by the summer, things will be where it won't be so weird. And then you can actually start creating, and you don't have to be on Zoom to create. You can actually
Yeah,
create.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I'm really excited about, because that's a bunch of short films that I want to get to. But so this last year has been interesting, but I think one thing that a lot of us creative people decided to do was we just shifted what we were going to create, right? So, you know, instead of, I mean, I just love how, I'm sure, I'm going to assume you would have you probably wouldn't have done Stuck In if it wasn't for the quarantine.
Yeah, honestly, because my main goal was to try to create or do something before I graduated college, like kind of
Mhm.
like my, send off or like senior project. So no, I did have, there was another idea that I had, and it was in person, and it
Mhm.
was like centered around college students, and
Mhm.
it was not like mental health focused or anything. So yeah, the approach is totally different because of the pandemic. But things happen for a reason. So I was glad I did it because I was a mental health tech during the pandemic. So like kind of just really seeing the importance of mental health.
Mhm.
And like, the ups and downs of that kind of really influenced the web series. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was not the original plan, but I'm not mad at, the path that it took me on. But yeah.
Mhm. And you know what? And before we do say goodbye on this episode, let's talk about those aspects of your series, because you know mental health is one of those things where a lot of people suffer in silence. And a lot of times, we hide it well, right? I've gone through depression before, and but I was really good at having a certain face where you never knew what I was going through. And I know some people really suffer from mental health issues. So one was, what was the reasoning why you particularly wanted to add it as a part of the series, and what were some of the things you wanted to accomplish as far as the messaging with this series when it comes to
Um,
mental health?
what kind of inspired it, like I said, I was a mental health tech at a hospital in Chattanooga. So kind of just getting that experience and just learning how like to treat people. Everybody's the same. We all go through struggles and all of this sort of thing. So that was kind of like a lesson as well. So like seeing how important that was for me personally influenced it. And then before that, I did a short film called You're Fine. And it's just about this guy who's isolated alone during the pandemic. And hearing like these negative thoughts and these negative stigmas portrayed and like inflicted on African American males. Because even within our community, I have friends that are either told, you can pray it out, or like it's really okay, you're fine, this, that, and the other, but like, it takes a toll on us. So within our community specifically, kind of was the another influence as well. But with the web series, it was important for me to go that route. And especially like I have a diverse group of friends. It was important for me to have each of us as actors be like a different race or ethnicity, because I kind of wanted to humanize that feeling of mental health and those struggles. So kind of showing that everybody goes through it, and you have different faces that you can look at to like kind of just kind of tie that all together and make it feel kind of, more humane and more relatable. So, but yeah, mental health it's a crazy thing that people are now starting to speak on, which, I'm kind of glad that subconsciously and not intentionally, I was kind of a part of. I feel like I'm somewhat a part of this movement. Like other celebrities and different people are speaking out. Like I know Taraji has her Peace of Mind show out as well. So like knowing all of these different things and knowing that it's something that the industry and people are looking at, I was just very happy to be a part of that movement. But within that, like I did a lot of research, and I learned that about 25% of Americans like that are between 18 and 26, like are going through some sort of mental health struggle each year. And then for teens, it's about 20%. So like knowing those numbers and like feeling somewhat connected to that research and being a part of those groups and like reflecting on my teen years and now my young adult years and the different things that, you struggle with and the negative thoughts that you may have, or like those different things. I wanted to portray that with these characters. And two, like having them go on a journey where it's not a predictable, oh, in the beginning, there's, they're having some issue. And then at the end, like everything's super solved and it's super fine. Like just really getting to sit with these characters and see that they're struggling, and see how it's taking a toll on their mental health through this pandemic. Um, so yeah, I think there's just a lot of qualities within mental health that need to be talked about, that need to be discussed. So hopefully I got to talk about them a little bit. And having each of them go through a different mental health struggle was also important for the creation of the series. So yeah, hopefully with the research and the people that I talked to, hopefully it is conveyed really well, and people can just start to see it's important to get help. It's important to talk to people. Even finding the right sources. Sometimes there's also wrong sources that hopefully within the series you see that as well. It's not always, the best to just go with one source. So really be open with your mental health, try things, find things that work for you, be honest with yourself. And yeah, just don't be afraid to get help, no matter what color, gender, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, anything. Just it's okay to get help, and just know that somebody out there is going to be there for you, and just find them, and just whatever is going to be better for you personally, always go with that.
Very well said. Very well said. All right. So, the what is next for you? What should we be on the lookout for next?
I am another short film that I'm working on and writing. Hopefully, I can get that shot pretty soon. I would like to. Of course, I'm getting to do more production assistant experience, like on different sets and stuff. So, like, there's something that'll be out. I don't think I can talk about it, but there's something that'll be out pretty soon. So my name will be on that as a production assistant. So I'm really proud of that. But
All
then
right.
again, writing front, also there's like another web series idea that I have in the back of my brain that I'm working on with somebody else. So hopefully that can also be shot in the summer. So yeah, so basically anything, hopefully my name will be on a wide variety of things, but as far as what I know to be on the path of, and that will be a part of my creative process, will most likely be some more stuff to be posted on YouTube and some other web series type of content.
All right. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the program, and we're going to have you back on
Oh yeah,
to talk on
yeah.
different programs that we have. So that's going to be fun as well. So I enjoy the little bit of, that we've known each other. I enjoy talking to you about movies and TV shows and whatnot. And you have great takes, and it'll be really cool to have you on some of the programs that we have. So I'm just very happy for you. Your series is great. I implore people to see it. I have the links to the playlist for all three episodes in our show notes. So, and also it's going up on the website, a link to it. So I definitely want you guys to check it out. But thank you so much. How can people get you in social media and all that good stuff?
I am on Instagram and Facebook, and both it's She Randolph for both. That's like of course, my username. So those are the main two places that you can find me. But yeah, also the web series, if you follow it on YouTube, it's called Stuck in Web Series. Like that's, the full title when you search it. And the image it's like a blue logo that has a black face on it, and it's like the brain, it's opened up. So you'll see that. That's the main logo. But those are the main ways. And I'm hoping to get more interviews and with different people within mental health for Stuck in the future. I'm trying to get those things worked out. So stay tuned for interview content as well, because of course mental health shouldn't just be a one-time thing. It's something that I want to continue to talk about and talk with professionals and people that really know what they're talking about with mental health and get those type of connections. But thank you so much for having me. And I gotta make sure I do my final shout out to my friends. Thank you guys, Trey, Brian, Nisha, Kayla, and Jalen. Thank you guys so much for helping me create this, and hopefully we can work together again in the future. So thank you guys if they watch this. Yes.
All right, cool. And you can get me at Kinte F on Twitter, Kinte Ferguson on Instagram, and of course the website is indyradio.org. That's INDY radio.org. Programming note: tomorrow night at on which is Wednesday, uh, March the 24th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. Our show, Men and Women Talk, the Mars Venus Show, moves to our new night and time. We are debuting my new co-host, Mosaic Star, and the name of that episode is Single for Too Long. So we're going to be talking about people who have been single quite a long time and ain't know what to do. So that should be a great topic. We have a great panel of guests that are coming on to talk about it. So we've been on Monday nights for so long. So this is a change. We're going to be on now Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, and that starts tomorrow night. So we have a lot of great shows coming up. In the following week, we have a show where we have a bunch of sets of twins that are going to be on that show, and they're going to be talking about what that's like. So that should be interesting. I'm really fascinated with twins, so I think it'll be an interesting show. So, but with that said, you guys have a great rest of your week. God bless you, and we will catch you next time right here on indyradio.org. Peace.